Good morning, everybody. Pastor Tim here, continuing our discussion on the book Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire by Jim Cymbala. A couple details. This Wednesday is the 3rd of July, and so we are not meeting on Wednesday nights. So just a reminder, don't show up on Wednesday night, July 3rd, because no discussion groups are happening that day. We will be meeting the weeks after, so July 10th, 17th, and 24th. We will be having the discussion groups, Kittery Point, 6:30, men's group, women's group, discussing the book. Because we're on pause this week, I want to ask you to continue to read, but I'm not going to go into a lot of depth on the next couple chapters because I want to stay queued up with these sermons or these videos connected to what we're actually studying. So I just want to offer a couple quick thoughts. First is that in the description section of this video and also in the weekly email, you'll see a link to a sermon by Jim Cymbala, a message he gave at a worship gathering out in Indiana. Many years ago. I had this back on VHS before DVDs. I had this on VHS. Really, really powerful message on prayer. A lot of these themes he covers in the book, but it's just really powerful to see him preach with his passion on this topic. So I want to encourage you this week to take a look at that. Take a look at that sermon from the gathering in Indianapolis. I know you've probably read books or heard quotes or had moments in your life where you're like, that changed me. Like, I'm a different person. I remember seeing that video and being like, I'm seeing the world and prayer and my relationship with God differently because of that sermon. That was super, super impactful for me, as was this book when I first was introduced to it years and years ago, probably over a decade and a half ago. So those are some of the details. I just want to offer just a couple quick thoughts, kind of broadly, about this topic of prayer. I put a quote on the Bethany Church Kittery Point Facebook page the other day about the question of desire. And so I've talked about this before. I just want to bring it up again. When it comes to desire, I want you to just be thinking about examining your own heart and saying, what are the things I desire to see God do? My observation connected to that would be sometimes we have desires, and when they're not fulfilled or met, we let the desire fade away. Sometimes and that's because we're sad that the desire hasn't been met. Sometimes when we have desires that come to us, we realize eventually that they're not the desires of God. And so that's why we always go back to the scripture and say, what is God's heart? And when we have God's heart and it lines up with our desires, we're moving in the same direction. So I'd encourage you to think about and pray about what are your desires when it comes to the movement of God in your life, in our community, in the world. And do they line up with what Scripture says? If they don't, then a great thing to pray about is, God, give me your heart. Let me have the heart that you have so that I'm desiring the things that you desire. And that goes very much back to the Lord's Prayer. You know, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. The idea is that I want God's purposes accomplished, not my personal purposes accomplished. So there's one thought. The other thought is this theme keeps coming up as I'm reading through it, is that and at the end of one of the chapters, Jim Cymbala basically gives the picture of God saying, I have all this for you. I want to give this to you. I want to bless you, meet you in your need, meet you in the things you're pursuing that are godly. But we live in spiritual poverty sometimes because we don't ask, we don't come to him because we think we have to try to figure it out on our own. And so when it comes to our expectations of God, again, I just bring that challenge up to us to say, how do we view God? And do we view him as a begrudging father or a loving father who loves to give good gifts? So just be thinking about those two things, your desires and also continually your view of God. I will mention to you also in closing that if you are a Bethany Church Kittery Point member, well, let's put it this way, not a member, an attendee, if you come to Bethany Church Kittery Point, because membership and attendees, different things. But anyhow, if you call Bethany Church Kittery Point your home, our plan right now is November 4th. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place here. September 4th. September 4th is going to be a campus update meeting. We had one back on, I think, January 3rd at the beginning of the year, and this is going to be basically a year update and also looking forward into the fall. So write it down now. It's going to be in the evening probably. We're not sure if we're going to do dinner or not yet. We're still working that out. But evening time, September 4th. September 4th. I keep saying the wrong time. Sorry. September 4th is when we're going to have our campus update meeting. And I'm bringing it up because we're going to spend some time praying in that meeting as well. All right. So just a quick video for you today. Thanks for watching, and we'll be tuning in again next week to give you some thoughts on the next couple chapters. All right. Link below in the description section. Just click that little thing that says "Show More" down below this video, and then you'll see a link to Jim Cymbala's sermon, and it also went out in the weekly email. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.